morning. Right, Philip and I have managed to steal away for a couple hours because we are taking two of these Isuzus off the beaten track. A little bit of fun off-road. We're currently driving down a beautiful dirt road in the Zambezi National Park, which is Victoria Falls' national park. It's an absolute gem of a place, beautiful bush, and you've got the mighty Zambezi River right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's an absolute sight for sore eyes. Lots of game here. We've only been on this road for 5 or 6 minutes and we've seen kudu, we've seen herds of impala, we've seen 6 or 7 giraffe already, a couple ellies. If you haven't been to this park, you really need to visit. Now I thought I'd take the opportunity to take you through the 4x4 systems on these cars, seeing as we are on a dirt road. The 4x4 systems in the MUX and the D-Max are very similar. They work off a dial system just down here in the MUX near the gear lever. In the D-Max it sits just below your aircon controls. It's a super easy system to use and so accessible. So I'm currently in two-wheel drive. I'm going relatively slow. I'm only doing 20-25 k's an hour, but the road is starting to get a little bit dodgy up ahead. A little bit more sand, a little bit more bumps, a few rocks to crawl over. So I thought let's use a bit of four-wheel drive. In these cars, all you need to do from 2H, which is your two-wheel drive, into 4H, 4 high, is turn the dial as you're driving. You can do this stationary, but the car allows you to access 4H, 4 high, four-wheel drive up to speeds of 100 k's an hour, which is incredible. So if you hurtling along at 80 k's an hour and suddenly the road deteriorates in front of you, you can easily flick it into four-wheel drive, get that extra traction, have that peace of mind. So I'm currently driving on the dirt road. I'm going to put it in four-wheel drive. I'm just going to turn this dial. Little green light comes up on the dash. Four-wheel drive engaged, and immediately I can feel that extra traction. I've got a hell of a lot more control now going around these dusty, sandy corners at a little bit of a higher speed. Absolutely incredible. If you do need low range 4L, then you do need to stop the car. The car needs to be in a stationary position, in neutral, engage 4L. Remember, we use those for some real rough terrain, through sand, riverbeds, mud, rock climbing, all that sort of stuff. You don't really need 4L on a road like this, but 4H gives you that extra peace of mind that if you suddenly need to swerve, or if you're going around a corner a little bit too fast and the gravel beneath the tires is a little bit loose, you're going to have that extra traction. So amazing piece of kit these four-wheel drive systems have. They're so easy to use, and they do give you that peace of mind when you are off the beaten track. Look at that river. That is just beautiful. Right, I've just slowed right down. I don't know if you can see this beautiful elephant just to the right of me here. Put the window down so you can see a bit more maybe. Just a few meters off the dirt road. Absolutely amazing.
Morning. I'm sure Seb has chatted you through. We're in the park, having a good drive down. We've been on the game park roads and absolutely nothing wrong with them, but we found a couple little spots you can turn off where it gets a little bit more rocky and a little bit more hairy. So as we're coming through, there's a bit of a water crossing now, and I know there's a lot of rocks up ahead, so I just thought, why not talk about suspension. So obviously the big difference is your MUX that Seb is in is your quad coil system, and then obviously this is struts at the front and leaf springs at the back. They've reduced the leaf packs at the back in the new 7th gen, making it a little bit different in terms of the tensile strength of the steel, so that you're not relying on completely different thickness in the plates. You still have your load spring at the bottom, your load leaf, so if you really do load it up, you've got a nice stiff thing to hold you, stop you kind of inverting the wrong way. But it handles this rough terrain really well. And yes, I've got bigger tackies on here. I've got big 265 muddies with a higher profile, they're a 70, and we run them a bit soft, which makes the ride that much easier. But at no point off-road have I felt like I'm getting a little bit of whiplash, or I'm getting thrown around the car. And we have done some very sticky sections between here and Corsten. We're on the rock garden now, and it just eats it up so well. And yes, I've got a little bit more weight with the canopy, which always kind of helps in a bucky format, just to have a little bit of weight constantly on the car. But it really does work beautifully out here. It articulates well. I know they've dropped the control arms a bit from the 6th gen just to allow the wheels to travel a touch more, which when you do really hairy rock climbing and one wheel does start to float, you do feel it. It just manages to bite that little bit earlier. I don't know if you guys can see that, but beautiful. The river in the background, absolutely stunning. Back to suspension. So on the road, the highway, that quad coil system in the MUX is a cloud, an absolute cloud. They really have got it right, and it's so comfortable. But of course, if you want to do something a little bit more hairy, there are aftermarket upgrades. So at Autoworld, we do the Ironman kits and the foam cell, nitro gas, all foam cell pros, and they've come out for both. So the main thing would be the lift. So it does lift the vehicle a bit, probably about 40 to 50 mils. Man, that's beautiful behind me. But your shocks, we've done a shock video in the past. You can go watch it on one of our technical Tuesdays. But being bigger bore, that's just going to allow that little bit more heat. So for instance, with this vehicle, it will go on just because of the weight that we have on it. So when we are doing technical 4x4 stuff in the future, or we're competing in 4x4 competitions, that ability to generate heat and dissipate it will just allow us to get through that a little bit more and not worry about blowing a shock or anything else, because the lifespan of this vehicle is going to take a bit of a beating. But for those of you that do have a very mixed approach, there's something that caters to all of them. Of course, he parks in my view. So the nitro gas, for example, if you're going to be predominantly on road and maybe go on these sort of game park roads that we've been driving on, it's going to increase that comfort hugely, and that's what it's built for. Those of you who kind of go out to the farm a bit more often, or like the slightly more challenging off-roads, the foam cells are your best bet. And those of you that are building big rigs to go do really hard things, your foam cell pros are the choice. So we cater to everything. When it comes to weight on the car, we'll walk you through that. But yeah, I'm very impressed, having taken this thing across multiple environments and some tough terrain and a long trip on the road. Well done.